Well, welcome back into Talking Fitchburg. Joining today from the Department of Ag Trade Consumer Protection. We've got Michael back on the show. Michael, welcome back. How are you doing?
Doing great, Jeremy. Thanks for having me back.
Thank you for being back. And since it's summertime, the sun is shining so beautifully out there, and your background just still, paints the picture of Wisconsin truly. Solar energy comes to mind, and a lot of people are taking advantage of solar. And I also think there's a lot of questions and some gray area when you talk about solar. And it's cool that this subject has come up for you guys for information to get out there to consumers. But we've seen an uptick in complaints as it comes to solar. And I'm looking forward to you breaking it down a little bit for us today on where you're seeing some of the issues that are coming in. But first and foremost, the demand for solar is definitely there. And when the demand's there and people want it, things can start getting a little fishy depending on how well that market is doing. So tell us what you know.
Yeah, it's a great point. We've done a lot of outreach and education on general home improvement contracts and things to be aware of. And now we really want to zero in on solar because it is becoming so much more popular. We're moving to electric vehicles. Recently there's legislation on electric vehicle infrastructure throughout Wisconsin. And there's a recurring theme on how do we go green and how do we conserve energy and so on. So solar is a great option. And there's a lot of good reputable companies out there, but like anything, there's also, a few bad actors that might try and take advantage of the uneducated, unsuspecting consumer who doesn't really know what they might be getting into. And so what we want to do is just bring awareness that, hey, this is getting more popular. You're going to see more people knocking on doors, or maybe you're getting some things in the mail, trying to get you to sign up and get some of these panels put on the roof, and making some offers that might be a little bit too good to be true. Some of the claims are going to be probably not quite through what you're going to experience when you finally put that in. And then conversely, you want to make sure you have a reputable company putting these panels in and they're backing up the work that they do.
Yeah, and the first one is actually goes back to some of the stuff we've talked about when it comes to picking out contractors and stuff. And it's into that fine print on booking them and whether it's a down payment and when are they going to come back and do this type of thing. It sounds like there's been some complaints in that end of things. And that is something we and you guys have shared a lot of great information on. So what is the issues?
Well, the issues are sometimes getting that. Most commonly is we get those down payments and the work doesn't always get done. Sometimes they don't even come back. But also the lien waivers. When you're making a payment, you have the right to a lien waiver, and that is making sure that you don't pay twice and that you don't pay for the panels and then they fail to pay the provider, and all of a sudden the provider's coming after you and you're saying, I already paid someone. And they're saying, well, you should have gotten that lien waiver. So it's just making sure some general things that you do when you're signing a contract, making sure you know what your rights are, and also knowing the information that should be in that contract, such as the time frame when things are going to be completed. Knowing what type of materials you're going to get. Sometimes the contractor, what we've seen pitching, you're going to get this grade A type of panel that's going to perform at a certain level, and in reality, you're getting a much more inferior product. Maybe something that's even refurbished and isn't going to perform with what you're paying. So making sure all of that stuff is itemized so you have some recourse should something go sideways.
I like this this tip. I mean, I don't like it. It's sad to see this, but interesting enough that you could be paying a lot of money to get this on. And if they're not, if there's any backups in work or whatnot, you might be waiting for this electricity to be coming through. And actually, you're going more negative when you thought you were going to be having energy savings, but the work might not be done, or the work gets done later than you expected, and now you're already digging out, and maybe you don't see the light at the end of the tunnel.
That's exactly it. Those are some of the things that when you're asking these questions and you're doing the research, you want to find out, what is the expected output? What are there any other programs that are offered this? The rebates, or are there state or federal programs that offer rebates? And more importantly, who does that rebate go to? If there is a program and you're not doing your due diligence, that rebate may go to the contractor and you're none the wiser when in fact you should have gotten that. So you want to look at those things closely. And then also want to make sure you're aware of all the different components that go into it. Putting a solar panel on the roof isn't as simple as climbing up a ladder, bolting something into the shingles and then leaving. There's a lot of wiring, a lot of, obviously you want to get it. Sometimes you need permits. It's got to have the breakers, all those things that you want to make sure the contractor is qualified to do, sometimes even licensed to do, and that it's all written out.
Yeah, and maybe this goes back to a good question on picking the right company or contractor. What would be some suggestions from you in general when you're looking at choosing that person to do the job?
Yeah, well, one is if you know someone who had solar put in, sometimes we don't see just one house with the panels. You're going to see a few more. Try and get a personal reference, see how that went, see how it's performing for them. That'll definitely give you a real world assessment of the quality of the product. But then also, hop online. You can visit our website at datcp.wi.gov. You can check out there to see if there's some resources. Give us a call. We'll be happy to let you know if you're looking at a certain company. If we've had complaints filed against them, we'll give you that information. Check the Better Business Bureau, see what kind of rating they have, if any complaints have been filed. And then you can also call around to see, are they licensed? Ask the company, do you have the proper permitting? Do you have what you need? And then verify that. All these little things, which will probably take you no more than an hour, could save you tens of thousands of dollars in the long run.
Now, if I get these put up and there's plenty of clouds like happening every single day, can I send that complaint directly to you or?
Absolutely. I've got a circular file for those types of complaints that I'll be happy to put them into. They can expedite it.
I'm pretty sure that's just the Jeremy file. They call that at the HR department here. No, I think, solar I think it's very fascinating, and I hope to actually get into this sooner than later as well. But I think there are a lot of areas, as we started off this conversation, that the gray areas that you need to get checked off. I like you referenced that your electrical company is not going to be coming banging on your door and saying, here's your money for your solar. Not necessarily. Don't think of that too good to be true offer. That's where you're going to get into trouble. I think when it comes to solar is a high expectation and a low return on investment.
Right. And that's exactly what you're going to see in some of these promotional materials. And maybe they're telling you at the very top end of what the best performance that's out there. And sometimes in the fine print, it'll say, not always guaranteed in certain markets. So you got to understand where you are and what's a realistic expectation of what you're going to get out of it.
Yeah, great information again, Michael, as always. Thank you one more time for people who want to find that tip sheet that you guys got on buying solar. Where can they get that at?
Yeah, if you go to our website, datcp.wi.gov, we have a solar power buying tip fact sheet that lays out everything we talked about here. Helps you do some of that homework ahead of time. Or if you want to just ask a few more questions, feel free to call us at 800-422-7128, or you can shoot us an email at datcaphotline@wi.gov.
Yeah, and you have some actually great information on if you're trying to pick out that company or contractor. There's some really good resources out there that you can apply to basically any type of home improvement that works really well. And please report it too. If you don't report it, you guys won't know how to go and figure out what's going on and see if there's any trends or anything. So it's important to report as well. Correct?
It's a great point. While we do focus on education and getting that out there, we're also an enforcement agency. And the only way we can do that is if we're aware of what might be going wrong. And it's not always looking for an opportunity to swing that hammer. It's an opportunity to try to help people do things right, so more people aren't victimized and they don't lose out.
Well, right. And I think it just adds to the scariness of, do I really want to do this? Because it sounds like a hassle versus if we know reputable companies are out there, then more people might get into it and could help out in the future in a lot of different ways. So, Michael, thank you so much. Appreciate your time. We'll check back with you real soon.
Thanks for the opportunity, Jeremy. Have a great day.
You bet. DATCP's website, head there. It's got great resources on everything that we talked about today and beyond. And of course, report it if you think you're been a victim of scam or other issues that have come up. Great resources to call and ask some questions as well. We'll take a quick break. More to come. You're watching Talking Pittsburgh.